பீகார் அண்ட் யூபி ஒரு கிராமத்தில் அரை மணி நேரம் தான் எலக்ட்ரிசிட்டி வருது. குழந்தைகளுக்கு எலக்ட்ரிசிட்டி படிப்புக்கு லைட்டு கிடையாது. They don't get proper food. They have to walk 5 to 6 kilometers to go to the school. How can we say that we have really achieved democratic success in this country? No doubt we can pride ourselves saying that we have probably one of the finest election management in this country. But election management does not usher good democracy. Election is only the first stepping stone to achieve the fruits of democracy. But unfortunately, even at the election stage, we are not able to filter. We are not able to get good people to represent the people of this country. Our march to freedom is beset with many difficulties. Our march to good democracy is facing almost daily challenges from money power and muscle power. So what is the reason? How can we get over this difficulty? There is a difference, there is a gap, a constitutional gap between the rich and the poor. While I said there is no perfect or ideal democracy, I have to say that when compared to some of our neighbors in Asia and some of our other countries in Africa, we are a lot better. At least we have periodical elections. We have a reasonable governance, though not adequate. But let me clearly say that if we do not periodically fine-tune our democracy, that if we do not take adequate steps to ensure good governance through democracy, democracy is capable of destroying itself. ஒரு அமெரிக்கன் ஒரு புத்தகம் எழுதியிருக்கிறார். It is known as The Life and Death of Democracy. It is written by John Kay. He finds that in many countries democracy is dying. And they need to take corrective steps. If not, we may have to find an alternative to democracy. We are living at a time when capitalism, free market, and democracy, they are all under tremendous test. You came across the financial meltdown in Western countries. Now you are hearing the problems of Dubai, asking for restructuring its loan, and many more problems arise because our fundamentals are not strong. Although the pundits in the Planning Commission say that our fundamentals are strong, I beg to differ from them, because if our fundamentals are strong, we would not be facing so much of Maoist and Naxalite violence. We will not be having threats from our borders, almost both in the north and the west. We have to improve the conditions of good governance in this country. When the Greeks formulated city-states, there was representation from the people. It was a direct democracy. But when the Romans adopted democracy, they changed it. They called it as representative democracy. And so, in modern times, most of us have adopted representative democracy. We have people to represent the people. But are we able to have good people? Number of years back, Edmund Burke told the voters in Bristol, please elect such representatives who will represent your constituency. But when there is a conflict between the constituency interest and national interest, they will vote for national interest. Naatupatru endu sonnanga. Naatupatru is very important for political representatives. I don't know how many of you have gone and seen or heard the debates in the parliament. Most of the time, they don't display national interest. They seem to be fighting for their party interests or selfish interests. There are very few representatives of the people who can claim themselves to be national representatives, representing national interests. We have a system of election where unfortunately even a person with 15% votes can become a representative representing 100% of the people. When Rousseau talked about the general will of the people, he said people representing the will of the people should be in the parliament. But we have now representatives who do not represent the will of the people because they represent only 15%, maybe representing a community, a caste, or a group of people, loyal people following the party, or representing a particular chauvinistic interest. How can they be called representatives of the people? How can we say that when they talk in the parliament that they reflect the general will of the people? It's very unfortunate that most of the Commonwealth countries have followed what is known as the first past post system, by which the person who gets maximum number of votes is elected as a representative. It is all right. Immediately after independence, this system was working all right because there was a lot of illiteracy in the country. People would not know the nuances and the intricacies of electoral system. We need to change the electoral system. I have been arguing. When I was the Chief Election Commissioner, I wrote to the Prime Minister in July 2004, saying that the election system needs to be improved. We sent 22 recommendations. Unfortunately, there has been no action so far. Our system of election, if it continues, I have a great fear that this great nation, for which great saints and savants in this country have toiled, may disintegrate. It is necessary for all of us to realize the gravity of the situation. We have a rich heritage, we have a culture about which we should really be proud. And one of the finest representatives of our Indian culture and heritage was Swami Vivekananda. You must listen to his soul-stirring speeches, how he wanted a vibrant India, how he wanted people to work for the community. He said, I don't care for any religion which does not recognize the value of human dignity. And yet, our religion teaches, all religions teach us the dignity of the human being. And yet, we do not realize the great value of these lessons and speeches. Our representatives no longer have that spiritual strength to work for India. If you go to the government, you will find queues of people waiting for redressal of their grievances. Our governance is indeed very poor. The nation should wake up.